Cathal Sheridan, I think, the last time we spoke, it was about your appointment as the head coach in UL Bows. There's been a lot of water under that bridge since, and it's I suppose we're at the juncture now where the Irish Rugby have announced during the week of the official cancellation of the All Ireland series, the Energy All Ireland League. Disappointing, I suppose, obviously, but given the current environment and the current climate, I suppose, look, it was unavoidable.
Yeah, I think the word you use there is one that's on everyone's lips as well. Is certainly disappointing. It's not what anyone would have hoped for or designed. Or when we chatted there, which seems like a long time ago, a lifetime ago. I suppose it wasn't exactly how I envisioned the season going. It was in my first season as director of rugby here with the club. But at the same time, I don't think anyone really envisioned the last few months going the way they have in particular. But right now, I suppose the first thing for us as a club, and for most clubs, I'd imagine it's pretty similar, is that, trying to get over the initial disappointment and that bit of frustration that goes with that. That's nationwide though. That's not, that's not individual. Like rugby and, club rugby, we don't have the monopoly or the autonomy just on that. There's a lot of disappointment around the place in general. But I suppose our next step is just trying to make a plan over the next few months, see where we go, what we can do, and trying where possible not to get bogged down in all the I won't swear, but all the crap that we can't control. So we can't control exactly how the numbers are going. We can't control the regulations. And one thing, in a weird way, chatting with a few of our coaches as well over the last while, is it's nice to get a little bit of certainty and saying, okay, this is not happening, so now adapt. And I think it's going to force a lot of clubs to figure out other ways to do things that maybe we weren't traditionally used to.
I know you said about figuring out ways to do things, and I think that's key in this environment is adaptability and being able to, if you get a green light on a season within a couple of weeks or months, to turn it around to get guys back in. And I think, if you look at how the GA are set up at the moment with the inter-county schedule to go first, depending on how far that kicks down the line, they might have to rejig things. They did it last season. They had to restructure stuff. But I think, trying to get things perfect in this environment is just not feasible, but we do have to be able to adapt when there are openings or opportunities or windows. I think Munster did it with the Munster-Leinster game last week when they had that window to play the game. They played the game. And I think clubs, sports organizations, all that, they really do have to learn to be able to adapt in this environment when they have opportunities to play games and to get the game up and running.
Yeah, agreed. I think adaptability is probably something that's been forced upon everyone over the last 12 months. Is that everyone's had to do it, and that's just one thing that's very obvious when stuff gets taken away, when lads can't go out and train together, is that it actually makes things a bit easier if you do get a green light for something, because motivation is at an all-time high. Like the amount of guys that, if we train on a wet, miserable, crappy night and it's pissing down rain, there are lads that are just crying out for that right now, which, maybe in a few years past, you would have had to drag some lads out, in particular some of the older lads who've seen it all and don't want to be around much longer. But right now, everyone's just crying out. So motivation is pretty high. And I don't think there's going to be any issue, I would say, for most clubs on, okay, you get a green light. And in fairness, what we're hearing as well is that if there is an option to get something done, that something is going to be done. I don't think this is a case of, even though there's a little bit of frustration and there's a little bit of like a nail in the coffin to a certain extent of the AIL, that's really not the full picture. I think the full picture is going, okay, we're making a certain call on this because we have really good information as of now, but at the same time, we can make an adjustment, and if something comes down the line, we'll have a right cut at that and we'll go at it. So that's going to be our mentality as a club as well over the next while, which is going to be hard, but we've some good people around, so we'll certainly continue to push that way.
And I suppose it certainly does afford you time to plan and to kind of prepare for that maiden season. More probably the longest preseason.
Too much planning. You've got time to overthink the crap out of it, and you're thinking, how's next season going to look? How's our preseason going to look? So it's exciting at one point, and then you kind of need to taper yourself down a little bit as well, just not to get too excited, and not trying to be planning for preseason next summer straight away. But look, as far as I'm concerned, it just all comes down to how do we make sure that we're keeping people involved in the game, and keeping people, I suppose, engaged in what we're doing as a club as well. Like, for us being very selfish, how do we make sure that everyone feels as if they're still part of the club, even though most guys, especially when you get up to senior level, between our senior men, senior women, we've got some incredibly ambitious people, guys who really, really want to drive on, and their focus a lot of the time is on performing and on games. But one thing we've really tried to drive in as a club is the importance of the relationships that you have around the place. And I think what this has done for us as a club is maybe got us to examine the purpose of why we do what we do, and why you bother going out to Annacotty or UL on a miserable cold night. What's the purpose of that, and why would you bother to do it, and why would you bother to put your body through it when you could be doing a million other things. And it certainly helped us in the forming of our vision and where we want to go over the next few years. So and I'm not just trying to put a positive spin on things, by the way, in case it sounds like I'm trying to be just happy positive, but it's about us figuring out a way to turn this into something that's going to help us grow.